What's up guys, welcome back to the next video in learning Kotlin. In this video we're gonna continue the break and continue and break. So we've seen in the last video with the labels. So and the Kotlin expression may be assigned label by preceding the expression with the label name followed by the @ sign. So if you guys look at here, these guys come here, there has to be a sign or label here. You guys can use this. So from the time to time you guys seen this one, so I'm going to show you guys how you guys going to use this with continual for loop. So if you guys seen here, for I in 1 to say we're going to put it 50. This is from the last video. So we're going to say if I, and we're going to print, and we're going to print our I. I'm going to use the nested for loop, and I'm going to show you guys what is nested for loop is. Nested for loop is, this is a for loop within a for loop. So this is 4 and there is another 4 here. This is called nested for loop. So this guy is here. You guys can have as many nested for loop as possible. You guys can have 2, 3, whatever you guys want. This is nested for loop. So it's just like a if. You guys can have a if statement within if statement, and in programming you guys can see like if, then you're gonna see if, then you guys gonna see like even if 4 ifs, for example, and if all of these ifs are nested, because this is lives in this if and this if lives in that if. So it's a little bit confusing, but with a little bit of practice you guys get used to it. So for example, if you come here, say for x in 0 till, for example, 0 till for example 90, for example, all right, and this is outer. This guy is here, it's called outer for loop, and this guy here is called inner for loop. But how do you know in programming, say for example, if x is also x here is 0 to 90, for example, what about the y is, if for example if y is 0 to 90, for example, what are you going to do? All right, so we're going to print here our x, print ln, and the print ln say we outer for loop counting. Okay, so the outer for loop count, and which is x, and then we come here and we put a variable x, and the inner for loop we're going to print this one, and we're going to put inside the inner for loop, because that's outer. In this guy is outer, and if you look at here, this one finishes here, and this is inner. So inner, then this for loop is going to conflict. So what we're going to do is then we're going to put a break here to break. All right, so now this two for loop, it sits on top of each other. So this for loop resides in that for loop. So you guys can put something called sign label. You guys can put label your for loop. So we're gonna run C to see what happens, because these two guys are here for inner for loop of y is equal to y. Okay, so here we have an index 0 to 90. We're gonna run, and here we're gonna display x, and inside the inner for loop we're gonna have 0 to 90, and here we're gonna display y, which is the here. And this guy here, for example, we put a condition, and our condition is, then I'm gonna put a condition here, if for example y, for example, equals to say 20, I'm gonna break. That's what the condition I'm gonna put inside here. So I have a for loop here 0 to 90, and I'm gonna display this one. This guy finishes here, and inside this one there is another for loop which resides. It's the inner for loop, and this is going to display here, but I'm put a break statement here. If I hits 20, I'm going to break from my for loop, and we're going to run. To show you guys, we're going to count till say for example we have till 90. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a 50 so you guys can see 0 to 50 and 0 to 50, because you guys the loop is too long, so you guys can see if y is equal to, say for example 10. Okay, we're going to continue again because 90 is too long. All right, if you guys look at here, it's running for each iteration here. It runs till 10, inner for loop, x is 0, then outer for loop, this inner runs until 10 because we put a condition till 10. There's outer for loop, then inner for loop runs till 9, then the outer for loop, there is a typo here, don't worry about that, just think this one as outer, and it runs again the second iteration, then run this one, the inner for loop, and then this, because the inner for loop is also 50, but because we put a condition it gets to 10 and it breaks down. Then the another for loop, the third iteration, then it comes to 7, then 11, 12, 14, 10, all the way the outer for loops gets to 27. Because the outer for loop doesn't have the continue or break, it is going to go all the way to 50. So this is the outer for loop. Outer for loop goes all the way to 50. If you look at here, the outer for loop is 50, and the inner for loop, every time the outer for loop runs one loop, the inner for loop runs as well. But because the inner for loop is not going till 50, because we put a break here, so to help you guys understand, I'm going to put a 10. You guys don't need to put this one 50, you guys can put 10, and if you guys can put a 5 here for example, because this loop runs at one loop at one cycle, this runs as well, but this runs not till 10, then not till 50, but this runs till 5 and breaks down. And this loop, because it doesn't have the break, it's going to run in full cycle, so it goes 1, then this one goes till 5, then this one goes, then this one goes. So that's how the loops goes inside each other. It's like seconds and minutes, and minutes and minutes and hours. So that's how this think of this outer and inner for loops, nested for loops, as seconds and minutes and hours. So the second goes the second loops all the way to 60 becomes 1 minute, and the minute goes all the way to 60 becomes 1 hour, and the hour goes all the way to 24, it becomes 1 day. So that's how it is. Okay, so we're gonna show you guys again. All right, and here outer for loops, inner for loop. All right, I'm gonna run. All right, so if you guys observe here, outer for loop, it starts from 0, and then the inner one goes all the way to, say 1 2 3 4 5 inner, and the outer one, the cycle starts 1, and inner loop again starts from 0, goes all the way to 5, and this inner loop goes to the second iteration, is like a minutes and seconds. Just think of it, 60 minutes, 60 second goes to 1 minute. This one runs all the way to 5, from 0 to 5, then it goes to third iteration, third loop, then it goes all the way to 10, because we put a 10. Okay, so you guys come here and put the sign instead of because this is instead of this one, outer and inner, you guys come here and put an outer for loop. So you will put an outer for loop, and you guys can put an at. So now this is outer for loop, and your outer for loop goes all the way till the break, and this guy comes here the break, and you guys can put a outer for loop. Then you guys come here and put a outer for loop. If you guys look at here, we put a label here, that's a label from outer, and this goes all the way here. So this makes a lot easier. Alright, so if you guys observe here, our outer for loop starts at 0, and inner for loop starts at 0, and inner for loop goes all the way to 5, because we put a break here, 5 and break, and as soon as it encountered this one, it knows that I have to break out of the for loop completely, and it's going to break out of the for loop. So that's what these labels are for if you guys doing nested for loops and you guys want to get out of the for loop in one iteration, that's what it is, you guys. So if you guys look at here in the previous example, the outer for loop here, it starts as 1 again, then this one run, then it starts at 2, then this one run, and it becomes very, very long. And in this case, if you guys look and observe here, the outer for, we put a label here. You guys can put anything, outer loop, outer for loop, outer nested for loop, you guys can put anything, but as long as you guys put this one here, the rate of this one sign here, where the 2 is located at your keyboard, and above the 2 with the shift, you guys can bring that one, and you guys can have inner for loop, and you guys want to break your for loop, and this one, now the iteration knows that I have to go from here all the way here, and I break down completely. So it stops, your loop stops, because you have the sign here at the end here. So if you guys look at here, the sign, the iteration goes from the 0 at 1 for loop, because the for loop needs to go from here, this outer for loop, from 0 to 10. That's what we program it to do this way, so it needs to go there all the way to 10, and when this inner also needs to go till 10, but because it encountered this break, it breaks down. So when it breaks down, it goes to then this kicks in again, it becomes 0, then it becomes 1, then it becomes 2, then it becomes 3, and this guy is here as well till it becomes 5, and then every time this one runs as well, every time this one runs as well, this one runs once, and this one runs again. It doesn't matter how many you guys can put your loops, it keeps getting larger and larger and larger. But if you guys want to say in one iteration, if you guys want to finish your loop in one iteration, so if you guys give this one goes 0, and you guys don't want to do this one to go ahead, so now the Kotlin knows, Kotlin compiler knows that I've got a label here, and the label is for outer for loop, and this label is, again, I'm going to encounter this for loop, then I'm going to break down completely, I'm going to stop. So it's like very good mind, listens to you, and it stops whatever you guys doing. So this is only the first iteration, and the first of the label begins from here, and the end of the labels here, which is the break, this guy here. But as soon as you encounter this one, it stops. So that's what the labels are useful. If you guys but you guys see, for this one is from time to time in Kotlin, so you guys needs to be familiar with this one, with the labels of outer for loop and inner for loops. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you guys got any question or comments, leave it in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.